Hey, I am Jess, and I'm obsessed with all things nutrition, science, and helping you navigate this information while maintaining a deep sense of peace and empowerment in your body. I'm a registered dietitian who started out with an eating disorder and then fell in love with learning about how God intricately designed our bodies to be resilient and so much more than superficially beautiful. I am now a mama who loves to be healthy, not because of how it makes me look, but because of how it has transformed the energy I can give to my family, my friends, and you. On this show, we hit on real talk around the latest nutrition science and body image resiliency, all while balancing it between grit and grace. Think of this as your weekly audio coffee to encourage your empowered eating journey. This is the Fuel Her Awesome podcast. Hey friends, welcome back to the Empowered Eating series. You got me here, Jess.
Hi, I'm Erica.
And we are so glad to be here. If you guys have been tuning in, you know we've been talking about some of the constructs of empowered eating and how to just know if you're an empowered eater, how to know if you've tipped over onto the obsessive side. And I just love covering some of these basics because they're so crucial.
They're crucial, right?
Gotta have them.
And we're trying to teach people to think in a different way from a lot of cultural voices that you hear, either extreme diet culture, where thin is always better, or on the other side of it, anything goes and don't worry about what foods you're selecting at all. There's something in the middle.
Yeah, we were actually just talking about how marketing what we're talking about is so challenging.
Yes, because there's not a catchy slogan or something.
It's so frustrating. One of my coaches actually for a long time was like, you got to lose weight on there because that's what everybody wants. And I was like, I don't feel right about that because that's not what we're teaching here. That might be a byproduct of some of the work we do, but the reality is we are working to change the entire mindset around food and find this middle ground.
And what you're going to wind up with is you're going to be healthier physically, but also mentally. And that's what we're teaching.
Yeah, I can't ignore that piece. That is so important. Well, today we're going to actually be talking about this extreme thinking and how we can avoid it. But if you haven't tuned in to prior episodes, make sure you catch those. We talked about how to know if you are an empowered or obsessive exerciser. And then we also hit on some key signs of what it means to be an empowered eater. So you can catch those episodes from last week. And then if you are loving this talk, Erica and I would love for you guys to join us in our Empowered Era coaching program. We are going to be kicking that off next week. 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now, we'll be kicking that off. And we're going to cover these topics in great detail, but the best part is that we are going to have space to have discussion, connection, questions, and how we can actually move through some of these hard topics, these hard conversations, these pain points together.
Because you and I have discovered in our work with clients is that people need support around this because finding the middle path between extremes is not an easy thing to do. No. It's not necessarily a popular thing. There's not these flashy catchphrases for it. It takes some hard work, right? And so people need support. So we're going to offer 45 minutes teaching, right? And then 45 minutes support group.
Yep.
Let's come together and talk about our issues.
It's going to be so great. And we're going to dive in. So some of the topics are unveiling your food story. And this is so important because I don't know, I'm sure you see this, Erica, but like when folks come into me and they want a macro assessment or they're ready to work on their food, if they haven't dissected their food story and come to an understanding of why they view food the way they do, why they get hung up on food the way they do, we are not actually helping them by giving them macros.
Right. For instance, a lot of people come into this work with some kind of dysfunctional history with their food, and there's psychological and emotional factors for that. For instance, do they have unresolved trauma? Have they been really depressed? Have they learned some, kind of extreme messages around food that they need to also kind of work on, right? It's not just about knowing about nutrition. That's important.
Absolutely.
But this other side's important too.
Well, it helps us use the nutrition information in an empowered way instead of a fear-based way. So we're going to actually hit on that on week 1. And then in week 2, we'll be talking about the confident versus insecure woman and how we can navigate body image through aging, cultural narrative, and personal values. Then we'll be hitting on the mind-body connection and exploring biofeedback and the psychology of eating. Then we'll be talking about the false idol of food. And we'll talk, this one's one of my favorites. And I know it's yours too, Erica.
Love it.
How food has really become the new religion.
Health has become the new religion, right? It's like we elevate it to, it's our God. It's going to save us. If I just do all the right things, nutrition and fitness wise, I'm going to live forever. No, you're not. But we can help you become healthier. And part of that is learning how to be relaxed about all of this stuff, right?
Yep. Yeah, so in that one, we'll be hitting on how to move from overwhelmed to empowered. And then in the final week, this is where we bring it all together, and we have folks actually craft their food philosophy. And this is from all the previous week's work where they can come and create this new narrative that they're going to be using with food moving forward. Anytime I do these groups, people always ask, are you going to have like menus? They want to know what's the actual nutrition component. So I just wanted to let y'all know we are going to be incorporating that into this program. So through the weeks, we will have a recalibration phase where we really work to recalibrate your biofeedback, talk about eating increments, how we can hydrate appropriately, and then from there we will layer on things like fiber and protein. And yes, I got menus and recipes for days, and we will absolutely be pulling that into this group. Well, we are so excited for that, and if you guys are interested, you can apply at the link below and we'll be in contact with you guys. Oh, and yeah, anyone who signs up actually by the end of this week is going to save $50.
That's great.
Yeah, so head on over. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this episode, Erica. Today we are talking about this idea of being stuck between dieting or giving up and what we can do instead.
So what happens so commonly, this is the most common psychological thought pattern that I see people struggling with. It's all this way or it's all this other way. How that translates into food is I should be rigidly adhering to a diet and it's all about the numbers and the macros and my weight, or I should just throw that out the window completely and just let the chips fall where they may.
Yep. And that's that weight cycling that we see.
And if you engage in that, you might engage in weight cycling where your weight is going up and down pretty drastically, right? And it's really unhealthy for a person. So we want to teach people how to find a middle path that actually leads back to sanity. What does that look like?
Oh, man. It looks, I think, a lot easier than people envision.
It's gentler than maybe one would think, right? So imagine a person has a crazy day. Yeah. They didn't bring their lunch. They have meeting after meeting. There's just fires to put out. Anyway, they get to the end of the day and realize they haven't really eaten. They're hungry. It'd be so tempting to just go through the drive-through and get the whole 9 yards, right? The milkshake, all the stuff.
Because the day's gone to crap anyways, right?
So that's an all or none thinking. I've already messed up. I might as well mess up even more. Right? But a person I think that's empowered is going to say, wait a minute, I know I'm really hungry. I know I have, my self-care is that I need some really good nutrition and some fuel right now. And I know what's going to feel better is if I make a better choice right now. So I absolutely need to eat.
Yeah.
But I want to eat some things that are going to meet my nutritional needs.
Totally. And that can be done in a drive-through.
It can be.
I mean, I was with a client yesterday and we mapped out all these options of what they could grab and go either through a drive-through or at a local grocery store. It's very doable. But I think when we're stuck in that all or nothing mindset, that's when we start to feel like, oh, well, I'm in this situation. My only option is the drive-through with the big milkshake or soda or whatever. And we throw it completely out the window. Okay, so let's talk about how we can move away from this mindset. And one of the points, again, when we share this, like you really have to think of this point as through the lens of being an empowered eater. Because if you just take like the straight point, it actually can tip over, I think, into the more obsessive side.
It can, yeah.
But when we keep that posture of curiosity, when we make sure that we don't pull in the all or nothing mindset, this can be really helpful. And that is actually learning about nutrition.
Yes. And we want people to learn about nutrition because there's a lot there to learn. And as you become empowered in your knowledge of nutrition, you can make better choices. But that doesn't mean we want you to be rigid about it. We want you to be flexible. You want me to share with you a story?
Oh, I'd love it.
Okay. So I have seen folks on occasion in my psychology practice where they previously had no eating disorder history, had no body image problems.
Okay.
And then made a decision to do something like a physique or a fitness competition where the emphasis is really on appearance and being really
and perfection.
And perfection, being really lean and muscular, that kind of thing. So I've seen individuals who are formerly without body image symptoms go from that to developing a full-blown eating disorder where they were binge eating. So these individuals who were previously healthy started to undereat. They were adhering strictly to a number of calories, macros, ultimately wound up being underfed, undernourished. And so what happened was a backlash with their bodies and minds where they started developing loss of control eating. So this looks like eating everything in your house in a couple hours, including condiments sometimes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the feeling of loss of control and the sheer terror? And that all was caused by not eating enough, not really taking care of oneself in pursuit of perfection.
Well, and I think like going back to look at how you look at that and the lens you're looking at that through is the lens of quote perfection or extreme thinking. And when you're doing those physique competitions, like there is a level of neuroticism that comes with that, a level of perfection that is required to get those results. And so, I mean, I don't prefer to work with folks who are going through bodybuilding competitions because of this, because I just think,
I discourage it.
Yeah, it's like it pulls out a different side of their brain that can trigger that all or nothing thinking.
Because what they are listening to is I've got to adhere to this number only in calories or whatever it may be, instead of that I'm hungry, that my body's telling me I need some fuel right now. I'm not feeling so good. And when you ignore that, you do so at your own peril.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you said something earlier that I really liked, Erica, about how it depends on like how we approach this, and like it can be really empowered, and learning about nutrition can be empowered. So I'm thinking of this one person I've been working with where we spent a very long time working on listening to the body, putting down the food rules, not logging her food, and getting away from that. And it was beautiful. It was wonderful. Then she came to a place where she signed up for a physical competition, not a bodybuilding competition, like a performance competition. And she was like, I think it's time I learn about nutrition from a new perspective. And so we actually did go back to some of the things like looking at calories, not counting them in a neurotic way, but actually looking and learning.
So what I think you're saying is when your highest value is taking care of and loving yourself, then you can start to apply some of this nutrition knowledge.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean you're going to go off the rails with it or into an extreme place, right?
No, yeah, like we're having a great time actually looking at like how we can feed herself with appropriate protein and carbs tailored around her exercise, but it's not triggering because she's not in that all or nothing place, and instead she's in this self-love and how do I care for my body place. She's able to take it as education, which is what it is, right?
It's just information, but when you make it the end all be all and you don't have this higher calling of caring for yourself, you might get into trouble with it because you might take it too far, right?
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so that's number one, is we can actually learn about nutrition, but doing so from a mind or from an empowered standpoint. Another way we can stop this pendulum swing is to actually eat when we're hungry.
Right. Right. The advice really actually sounds overly simple, but eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. Yep. Right. And we want people to practice eating regularly, especially if they haven't been in the beginning, to kind of make sure they're able to pay attention to when they're really hungry versus when it's maybe something else like an emotion or a craving. So if you go for long periods of time without eating, you're likely to have trouble really deciphering those signals, and you might start to really binge eat or overeat.
Yeah, right? And actually, like biologically, our body is set up to eat every 2 to 4 hours.
So it makes sense.
It makes sense. So I always tell my clients, like, if you're hungry 2 to 4 hours after you previously ate, you did it right. Like, you did a great job because your body has now had the time to process that food, take the glucose, put it in your bloodstream, take the blood glucose, and then actually put it in the cells and give you energy. You did it right. And then just another side fact, because I like the nutrition stuff, is that your body has this natural cleansing process in your gut. It's called the migrating motor complex, where every 90 minutes or so after you eat, your body like has this wave of contractions in your gut that cleans it out. Like it's literally like a broom going through your gut and cleaning it out. And that's about 90 minutes after you eat. And so your really body is ready to eat again after a minimum of 90 minutes.
I did not know that part of it. I learn something every time I'm with you. And so how should people eat, right? We've been kind of talking about like you can learn more about what would be good to eat, right? How should people do that?
So I always say when you eat, taste your food. And
be present with it? You mean like spend time with it?
Yeah, just actually taste it. And this can be done because we're talking about mindfulness here and being mindful when you eat.
Mindfully.
Eat mindfully. But I think sometimes, and I know I relate to this, I like no joke, was eating a breakfast burrito on the way over here. We're doing things on the go, and we've got kids in the back seat talking to us, or the phone is ringing. We are multitaskers always. And yet we can still taste our food. Like, that doesn't have to be sit down, smell it, like a whole process every time.
Right.
But we can taste our food. So you better believe I tasted my breakfast burrito.
I bet it was delicious.
It was so good.
I love breakfast burritos.
Oh, the ones I make are like beyond delicious too. Can I tell you what I
Yeah,
put
please tell me what you put in.
So I make this bacon, and I actually put a little bit of brown sugar and chipotle seasoning on it to give it like a red chili like zing. And then I put cream cheese instead of cheese on my tortilla. And then when I make my eggs, this is like the nutrition side of me, I actually do like a egg white whole egg blend, and then that way I get more protein.
Oh yeah.
And because I'm getting fat from the cream cheese, so I kind of balance it that way.
Right.
But then I add nutritional yeast and Greek yogurt, and it makes this like deliciously
that sounds really good.
Creamy
and
egg.
Nutritious.
Oh, it's so nutritious and delicious. So yeah, you can tell I tasted that on the way over, right? I was super mindful, and yet it was in the midst of a very busy morning.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because I ate some yogurt and peaches and a bunch of breakfast stuff here, and I was doing emails, but I stopped every few bites and just really tried to savor it, because it was really good. It was a good peach, really juicy.
Totally.
With some Greek yogurt. Love it.
Love it. And that's really all it takes, right? We don't need to have this elaborate sit down experience.
Although if you can do that, it's amazing. Take your time with your meal if you can, right?
And
just really enjoy good company. And I think those things are good for digestion. But
they are.
But if you can't do it all the way, at least do it a little bit. Like, be happy about getting to eat and enjoy it.
Absolutely. And what that does is, you're right, it is good for digestion because it slows us down and it removes some of that fight or flight like response that we carry often throughout our busy, stressful days. And it leaves room for the other side of the autonomic nervous system to turn on, which is our parasympathetic nervous system. And that's our rest and digest side.
And that's where we can absorb best the wonderful nutrients you're putting into your body.
Yes. So eating mindfully and whatever that looks like for you today.
So far we've said, learn about nutrition, but be empowered. Don't make it rule you. You rule it. Mm-hmm. Eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, and eat slowly and mindfully. So far, these are really the bullet points.
Yep. Okay, let's wrap up with just one more, Erica. Like, when I think of moving away from this all or nothing thinking around food, one of the first things I love to do with folks is help them identify what their food rules are. And oftentimes this is just like doing some inventory, because we beat to a rhythm and sometimes we don't even know why we beat to that rhythm.
Right.
And so
we just learn these rules, and I don't know why I have these rules, but I must follow them, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I think when we have those rules and we don't know why, that very much so sets us up to be in this all or nothing mentality.
Well, and when we have rules where we can never make exceptions for them with food, especially, we're going to get into trouble, because we live in a culture that uses food for a lot of different things and to celebrate and so forth and so on. Yeah. So if
you're going to break them.
Yeah, you're going to, I think we all have to, whatever food, plan you're trying to follow, it's not going to be perfect.
Right. Yeah, this is such a fun exercise to do with folks. Well, I'll actually have them list out their food rules, and then I'll ask them, where did this come from and what evidence do you have to support it? And the one that always comes up is don't eat dairy.
Don't eat dairy?
And then I'll ask, where did that come from? And it usually came from some article or somebody said it at the gym. And then when I ask the question, what evidence do you have to support this? There are some people that are like, my stomach hurts after I drink milk.
Oh, that makes sense. Maybe they can't digest the lactose, right?
In that case, I'm like, okay, this is a food rule that, okay, maybe it is serving you. Let's decide how closely and how disciplined you want to be in following it.
Right.
But I have a lot of folks on the flip side who are like, well, no, it's never bothered me. And I'm like, then why are we avoiding dairy?
Because it can be really good for you. If I couldn't eat dairy, I'd be hungry a lot because I eat a lot of dairy.
Yeah, I'd be missing so much protein. I
get a lot of protein from dairy as well. Like Greek yogurt, I eat it a lot.
You just ate it today?
I just ate it today, yes.
Yeah. Well, and I think, my body doesn't respond to it. And it's very clear that whether I'm eating dairy or not eating dairy, like my gut is the same.
Right. I don't have digestive issues when I'm eating it. So it's fine for me to eat because it's nutritious.
Yep.
If you have a sensitivity or you can't process something, that's different than I just don't think I should eat this.
Yeah.
And why? I think you're right, asking the question of why.
Yeah.
And can we loosen this up a bit?
Right. And that's something that, again, unless you spend time, like you and I do this all day long, so we think of these things. But, if I were to flip it and look at, I always compare it to like money, because I have an accountant and she asks me great questions, and I'll come in with like money rules. And she'll look at me and go, where did that come from?
Right.
Why do you have that? And has it served you? Has that been a fruitful rule to live by? And when she walks me through that, I have to say I've learned a lot and been able to change a lot of my mindset.
And did it feel empowering?
Yes.
It goes back to what we're trying to do. Because I think if you look at why do people have rules, I think there's a lot of fear.
Absolutely.
There's fear they're going to be unhealthy or they're going to become obese and have health problems. And I don't want to dismiss all of those fears. They can be valid. But sometimes the way people are going about applying these rules is actually can make things worse.
It can. Well, it's the scarcity mindset.
Yes.
And that's what I found with like my money stuff is I was operating in this scarcity mindset. And just because I set those rules down, it didn't mean all the worst fears came true. It actually meant I learned to trust the process. I was able to get curious. I was able to explore.
You learned how to have your own relationship with your money. And this is what we want to do with our clients in the Empowered Era is help people learn how to have a healthier relationship with food where they're in the driver's seat, not some kind of arbitrary rule list.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's such a great place to be. I mean, when we see clients get there, how exciting is it?
Yes, I've had clients tell me after all of this time, finally, thanks to working with you, I now feel like I'm an ally with my body.
Oh,
my body and we're friends, maybe for the first time or we're friends again. And I can make decisions and have some flexibility and enjoy life. And I'm not so afraid.
Oh,
you can dispel some of the fear, right?
Yes, that just brings me so much joy because we live in our bodies.
Yes, we have to be embodied, right?
Yeah, we have to be. Oh, well, friends, we are so glad you came and joined us today. Thank you for tuning in. We have one more episode in this series that is going to be dropping on Wednesday. We are going to be talking about how to be healthy without the hurt.
Right. We see people that try to bully themselves into being healthier. And I hate to break it to folks, but it doesn't work.
No. I always think of a little kiddo and my boys, when they're trying to do something hard, it's not like I sit there and I like point out all their flaws and where they're messing up. No, I show them where their strengths are. At least I try to, when I'm
working. Or you gently redirect.
encourage.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what we're doing here is we're actually learning how to give that to ourselves. And when we do that, we are able to really come to that place of empowerment and actually make change, actually see what we want to see.
Positive changes.
So we're going to be doing that on Wednesday. So we hope you guys will join us there. And if you're ready to dive in deeper with us, make sure you check out that application form that is going to be linked in the show notes where Eric and I will be kicking off that Empowered Era group coaching program. That's going to be on September 9th. You can find all the details, all the information below, and we hope to see you in there. You guys have a great day. Cheers and happy eating. I'm so glad you were here today. Let's do yourself a favor and write down at least one actionable item that you can take away from today's episode to start fueling your awesome. Here on the show, we scratch the surface of empowered eating, but if you're looking to dive in deeper, I would love to help you out with that. Head over to jessbrownrd.com. You can check out my free Empowered Eating Workshop. You can take a free quiz to see if your eating style aligns with your values, or better yet, book a discovery call with me to learn more about how to further your empowered eating journey. I cannot wait to be in your ear again, cheering you on along the way. Until then, cheers and happy eating.